Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Today, let's talk about separating from the military, do's, don'ts, hard lessons learned, and maybe some tips that you might be able to use. Okay. Well, short brief history on me. I joined the Army in 1997, and I left the Army in 2009. So I served 12 years in the Army. I got out. I worked for my wife's parents in a logging company for about 2 years. Then I contracted for about 6 years. Then I was a cop for a few years. And now I'm in the corporate world. So same guy from last time asked me to make this video. I think this is a pretty important video. So let's start with getting out of the military and what happens to you when you get out. Obviously, this is not just me. You can look at almost everybody's video talking about this kind of stuff, and everybody has the same kind of thing when they get out. You quickly learn that you are completely replaceable, and you quickly learn that once you leave your core group of people that you've known for a long time, that you've gone to war with, that you've suffered and bled and cried and all that stuff through, you quickly learn that even in that core group of people, you can easily be replaced. You learn that the phone calls and the text messages, they stop pretty abruptly. You learn that while these dudes will more than likely forever be your brother and or your friend, you learn that they don't necessarily have time for you now because they are still in the shit. They are still training, going to field problems, going to schools, getting deployed, whatever. Whereas you have all the time in the world and you're like, oh, let's do this. And they're like, I can't because we're going to the field. When I got out in 2009, dudes were still deploying. So, it's a hard thing to go from a place that the op tempo is really, really high to where it's, you deploy for a year, you come back for a year, and then you deploy for a year. And in that time you come back, all you're doing is requalling on all your stuff, going to all the schools you need to, going to new schools that you may need in the future, and then train up to deploy again. So you don't really get much time off. So you go from all that op tempo, and then you get out, and it stops. And it stops abruptly. And then you're like, okay, well, now what? For me, I had a plan when I got out, and we'll discuss that more here in a little bit. My plan, it went okay. It did not go the best, I would say, because my plan hinged on other people. My plan hinged on other things to happen. My plan was not 100% solely reliable on me, which is where I screwed up. What I didn't expect to happen was that, and through science we know this now, when you are in a place of high op tempo, high testosterone, high everything, you're like this, and then when you get out, you go like this. And what happens when you go down like this, and it happens pretty fast, is your testosterone plummets, and you can go into depression. I did not know that. Nobody really knew that back then. Back in 2009, PTSD was a very bad word, and nobody said it, because to get labeled that way was a really bad thing. now every fucking dude that you meet on the street has got some form of PTSD, so everybody's cool with it now, or whatever, right? Back then, wasn't really the case. So, I did not realize or even know that I could even, slip into that state of mind of, almost like the woe is me type of state of mind. And God, I've never been that way. I don't even like pats on the back. I don't even like people like telling me I did a good job. Like I've never had that. I didn't have it when I was a child. I didn't have it, in the army per se. So I never, I don't know how to take that. When somebody like compliments me on something, I often, I don't just say, "Oh, thanks, man, I appreciate it." Like I don't do that because I don't know. I just don't know how to react to it because I just don't know. So when I got out and I had this plan, what happened was I went to work for my in-laws. I lived on a ranch. I was a logger, a ranch manager, all the stuff. And what none of us expected was that when Obama got elected, and this is not going to go too political, I'm just stating facts here. When Obama got elected, the natural gas in our area damn near like completely shut down. He stopped the production of natural gas in the Raton Basin. So when that happened, the big natural gas places, obviously, they stopped really working. They stopped cutting new pads. They stopped doing a lot of stuff. So my in-laws, who a lot of their job relied on working for the natural gas places, all of a sudden, that all dried up. So the income was not coming in. So then the job that I thought I was having or thought I was going into was not there anymore. So we kind of had to switch roles and do other things. And for 2 years, we lived on a ranch. We were doing whatever we could to make money and things like that. And it wasn't bad. We weren't broke or nothing like that. But it was a hard life because, we were both working, 6 days a week. We had a small child. Luckily, we were working right for Grandma and Grandpa, so the kid would come to work, things like that. So that was really good. Some of the things about the work was awesome, like being outside. I learned a lot about forestry business, the forestry industry. I learned how to, fell trees and how to look at an area and tell you if it's healthy or not, like things like that. So I got more into the forestry stuff. But what I didn't have, what I was really, really, really lacking was all that camaraderie and brotherhood and that fast-paced lifestyle that I had left. And when you're in that fast-paced lifestyle for 12 years and all of a sudden it just halts, man, you are lost. So after about a year and a half, 8 months, 9 months, whatever of doing that, man, I wasn't spiraling out of control like in a dark hole or nothing, but what I was longing and yearning for something so bad that I didn't have anymore, and I didn't know what to do. For many other people, that life is just fine, and that's what they wanted, and they can live it, and that's great. In my mind, I got out after 12 years, so I was 30 years old. I got promoted to E7, starting first class within 10 years. So I was, not fast tracking, but I was on my way up. So I was in it. I did everything I wanted to do in the military, almost, and I was just longing. I just needed it more because I thought I was missing out. That's basically what it was. I thought I was missing out on stuff. So I had, me and my father-in-law, when you're in business with family, obviously nothing always goes perfect. So me and my father-in-law had a big clash one day. Kind of told him to go fuck himself, blah, blah, blah. And it just so happens that very shortly after that, I'm talking within probably a week, I had a friend call me and said, "Hey, man, you want to try out for this contracting world?" And there was a little bit of hesitation because at the time I thought a contractor you had to be like Delta Force or like SF or something like that to do it. But I was like, yeah, sure, like let's do it. Called a recruiter, set up everything, did all my paperwork. I was in college at the time, so I had to wait for a few months when college was done, like 3 months, which was good because that gave me time to shoot a lot and go to the gym and be able to pass, all the barriers and markers you need to even get into the school. So I really, really dug down and hunkered down, and oh man, I mean, you can ask my wife, but it was rough because you have to be at the time. I don't know if they still do this. I had to be at a certain body percentage. I want to say it was like below 12% body fat, something right around there for my age group. So, I had to go on a very strict diet, and I had to, I was walking for 3 hours on a treadmill every morning, and then going to college, and then going to the gym afterwards. And I was surviving on like energy drinks and pills. Like I was so tired and so worn out, and my diet was like 0 carbs. So I was bad. I hired a dietitian. I mean, it was rough, but my end goal was there, and I was able to achieve my end goal. And I went to the school, and I was able to make a good living. Buy a nice house. Blah 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 blah. But I didn't know the toll that would take on my family, because now I have another child. So now I have 2 young kids, and I'm gone 9 months out of the year. I'm gone all the time. And, it's my wife's sole responsibility to train and raise these boys when it should be my responsibility as well. So then basically, after a while, like I get hurt, I have to have surgery, blah blah blah. I come home, and for about a year, something like that, recovering from surgery, I was like daddy daycare, and I was not doing anything. And that year was really, really hard. I fell into a deep dark hole of depression. It was bad. I mean, it was so bad that I would wake up, take my oldest son to school, come back, take a nap, then go like pick him up from school, then come home and take another nap. And I did nothing. It was pathetic. Very, very pathetic. And I didn't know why. I didn't understand why I was so tired. I didn't understand why I was so lazy. I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand why I, wouldn't help out around the house, or I didn't do anything. So basically the burden was all on my wife too. And she was working at this time, so she was driving an hour to work and an hour home. And then she would have to cook dinner and clean the house and do all this, and I did nothing. I did not know that my testosterone was really, really low, that I was severely depressed, and that I was in a dark place and I needed to come out. And I'm okay with talking about that now because, I'm here. I did not let that, how do I say it? I did not let it consume my life. There was nobody that pulled me out of it. There was nobody that recognized it for what it was. Everybody just recognized it as I was being lazy. After about a year, I started applying for, my shoulder was healed up, this, that, and the other. I started applying for jobs as like a cop, because that's the closest thing to, what I was doing. So I became a cop. It helped a little bit, because right at the time I became a cop, I started my police academy. I got diagnosed with low testosterone, and the VA, sent me to an endocrinologist, and I was on testosterone. So that helped a lot. Um, so ever since then, basically, I went to a therapist for a little while. She kind of, I was under the mindset of, I don't want to talk to a therapist unless that therapist has done the things that I've done. Because if they haven't done the things that I've done, then they don't understand what I'm about to tell them. And that was the wrong mentality to go about this. Because, and she explained this and opened my eyes to this, because 99.9% of the world has no clue, like zero idea what it's like to be at war, right? To be in war all the time. So if 99.9% of the world has no idea what it's like, then how am I supposed to interact with everyday people all the time if everybody's supposed to think the way I think? When she said that to me, I was like, son of a bitch, like, she's right? So me and her talked, and I was in therapy for, I don't know, like 6 months or a year, something like that, like once a week, something like that. We had good talks. I was able to look in the mirror, look at my true self, see what was causing my depression, see how, it wasn't anybody else's fault per se, that it was my own personal shit that I needed to unfuck, and all this other stuff. So it was really, really good, really enlightening. And since then, everything's been great. Not great, but like, I don't want to like put a gun in my mouth. Now, with all that being said, what would I change or what would I do differently? Okay. Well, as stated before, my exit strategy was completely dependent on other people. I would completely change that. I met a lot of dudes when I was contracting that they were going to contracting school while they were ETSing out of the Army. So, you have whatever your month or your 2 months of Army pay that still comes in when you get out. They were in school during that, which I thought was a really good idea, because now you have all that Army pay coming in. Now you have a little bit of contracting pay coming in, and you can transition right into that contracting world almost seamlessly. I thought that was a great idea. So I would take if I had to do that over again, I would take the burden off everybody else and I put the burden on myself. So I would have a plan that it was up to me to execute, whatever it may be, starting your own business, doing this, doing that, whatever it may be, going to college for this, that, or this. And I would make it that plan where everything was on me, that I didn't have to rely on somebody else, because whenever you rely on somebody else, ultimately, usually it fucks up, right? Now, as far as my depression and stuff, I will just say this to all the dudes out there: if you are feeling like you have no energy throughout the day, and you're 35 plus years old, you have no energy, you can't seem to like go to the gym, you can't seem to do dishes, you can't seem to do anything, your drive for everything is very low, just go get tested, man. Go get your testosterone tested and see where you're at. I'm here to tell you, if you look at my TRT video, testosterone is not like a magic drug that's going to, all of a sudden, you're going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. What's going to happen is you're going to feel like you're alive again. You're going to feel like you don't need to take naps, that you can go to the gym, this, that, and the other. That's what it does. So it's not like a miracle drug. But, you have a lot of really good side effects, meaning you're going to be awake and you're going to do things. As far as the depression part goes, I think that we know what depression is nowadays. I think there's a lot of clinical studies that have been done on it, especially from soldiers and sailors and all them guys. So I think that's a good thing. So go get yourself tested, go see a therapist, all that stuff. So yeah, to recap, when you do get out of the military, make sure you have plans on your terms, nobody else's terms. If you are in a slump to where you can't figure out why you cannot get motivated to do literally anything, go get your testosterone checked out. If you are separating out of the military, separating out of a very high testosterone driven job, go see a shrink for a little bit. There's nothing unmanly about it. It's okay. You can do it. Don't worry. They might actually help out. Yeah, those three things, the big three. I'm not going to talk about money, stuff like that, because you know what? That shit ebbs and flows. Money comes and goes. Have a purpose in life. I'll end on this. When you get out of the military, have a purpose. Whatever that purpose may be, have a purpose. Whether it's, being the best father you can be, or, being the best gunslinger you can be, or making the best whatever you can make. It doesn't matter. Have a purpose. When you find yourself with a purpose, you'll be more driven to do things. All right? That's it. Thank you for watching. Always ask yourself, are you an asset or a liability? If you got low T and you're depressed and you hate your life, you are 100% a liability. So don't be that. Go get tested.